Hello and welcome to Hidden History and Biblical Mystery, the channel where we explore the secrets of the past and the mysteries of the Bible. In this video, we are going to talk about the ancient city of St. Louis, also known as the Mound City, and how it connects to ancient Egypt. The Mound City, what was St. Louis like in ancient times? St. Louis was once home to a complex of earthen mounds that were built by the Mississippian culture. A civilization that flourished in North America from about 800 to 1600 AD. These mounds were used for ceremonial, religious, and burial purposes. And some of them were over 100 feet high and 200 feet wide. The largest mound, called the Big Mound or La Grande de Terra, was located at what is now Broadway and Howard, and it was a landmark for river travelers and early settlers. St. Louis was nicknamed the Mound City in the late 18th century because of these impressive structures. The hidden history: how did the mounds get destroyed and forgotten? Unfortunately, most of the mounds in St. Louis were gradually destroyed by urban development, railroad construction, and vandalism. The Big Mound was dug down and removed by wagon loads in 1868, and its soil was used as fill dirt for the Northern Missouri Railroad. Other mounds were leveled to make way for buildings, streets, and parks. By the end of the 19th century, only one mound remained in the city, the Sugarloaf Mound, which is still standing today. The destruction of the mounds erased much of the evidence of the ancient civilization that once thrived in St. Louis, and many people became unaware of its existence and significance. The biblical mystery: what does the Bible say about the ancient Americans? Some scholars have suggested that the ancient Americans, especially the mound builders, may have had some connection to the lost tribes of Israel, who were exiled by the Assyrians in the 8th century BC. According to this theory, some of the Israelites migrated to the Americas and brought with them their culture, religion, and language. The Hidden History and Biblical Mystery YouTube channel further posits that all these biblical lands are located in America. In this alternative perspective, the entire land of the Old Testament, including places like Syria, is thought to be situated in America. While this theory challenges contemporary beliefs, it remains controversial, with many archaeologists, historians, and geneticists arguing that there is no conclusive evidence to support such claims. But the archaeologists have nothing to lie about, and they wouldn't lie, would they? While archaeologists emphasize the importance of rigorous evidence, it's worth noting the long history of conspiracy theories surrounding the Smithsonian Institution. Some theorists claim that historical artifacts mysteriously disappear once the Smithsonian gets involved, suggesting a deliberate effort to suppress certain narratives. While these claims lack substantial evidence and are widely regarded as unfounded, they add a layer of skepticism to the idea that all historical findings are accurately represented. Continuing our exploration of the intertwined histories of St. Louis, ancient Egypt, and the civilizations of Mexico, we uncover a narrative woven with complexities and contrasts. The intentional destruction of the mounds in Mound City, now St. Louis, becomes a poignant chapter in the broader story of cultural preservation and erasure. The contrast between France's approach to ancient Egypt and its actions in the Mississippi Valley is a glaring example. Scholars sent to Egypt meticulously documented and preserved its history, while in North America, the Mississippi Valley's mound complexes faced systematic destruction. Their history suppressed beneath the burgeoning cityscape of St. Louis. In parallel with the St. Louis World's Fair, reminiscent of the narrative at the Chicago World's Fair, a multitude of buildings were raised to make way for progress and development. These grand structures, once symbols of innovation and technological marvels, met a fate similar to the ancient mounds: deliberate erasure in the name of modernity. The question of whose cultural footprint holds more significance gains prominence, prompting us to examine the motives behind these contrasting approaches. The obliteration of the Mississippi Valley mounds, coupled with the selective preservation of distant cultures, raises suspicions of a broader trend, one that involves not just urban development, but the intentional erasure of indigenous histories. Now, returning to the St. Louis World's Fair, this unsettling chapter in history goes beyond anthropological practices. The fair, with its grandeur and technological innovations, witnessed the destruction of buildings akin to the Chicago World's Fair. These structures, once at the forefront of progress, were sacrificed in the name of development, mirroring the intentional erasure of indigenous mounds in the same city. The parallels extend beyond preservation to the interpretation of ancient civilizations. The meticulous care taken in uncovering and restoring temples in Mexico, Central, and South America stands in stark contrast to the neglect of their counterparts in the Mississippi Valley. Were the achievements and contributions of indigenous cultures deliberately downplayed, their architectural marvels erased from the historical narrative? The theme of restoration unravels layers of deception and manipulation in our understanding of history. The uncovering and restoration of temples in Mexico challenge preconceived notions and highlight the resilience of indigenous cultures. This journey from Mound City to the remnants of Egyptian and Mexican civilizations is not just an archaeological expedition, but a critical examination of the power dynamics that have shaped our shared human history. As we navigate this historical labyrinth, scrutinizing not only the physical remnants, but also the narratives that surround them, we uncover a story that goes beyond the visible landmarks. It's a story of preservation and neglect, of deliberate erasure and the power struggles that have shaped our perception of the past. That's not all. There are multiple cities with Egyptian names along the Mississippi River in Illinois and along the Mississippi in general. Let's delve into the history of these cities, according to the records of the colonizers. Cairo, Illinois. Cairo was founded on May 22, 1819. The city was named after the ancient capital of Egypt on the Nile River. It rapidly developed as a major trading center for cotton cultivated at the region's large plantations and depended on the work of enslaved African Americans. Karnak, Illinois. Karnak was established in 1904. The village was named after Karnak, in Egypt. This part of southern Illinois is known as Little Egypt. Thebes, Illinois. Thebes was established in 1835. It was originally a riverboat port called Sparhawk Landing. The village, like the city of Cairo, also in Alexander County, is named after the Egyptian city of the same name. Memphis, Tennessee. Memphis was founded on May 22, 1819. The city was named after the ancient capital of Egypt, Memphis. In the historical context, cities in the United States, such as Memphis, Tennessee, were indeed named after ancient Egyptian cities like Memphis. The official narrative attributes this naming to a fascination with ancient Egypt during the time of the city's founding in 1819. However, skepticism arises when considering whether the colonizers of America, who were navigating unfamiliar territories in horse and buggy, truly possessed in-depth knowledge of ancient Egypt. It prompts the question, did these explorers, who had likely never set foot in Egypt, arbitrarily decide to name places after ancient Egyptian cities? This prompts us to exercise discernment and critically assess whether the historical accounts align with the plausibility of such a deliberate connection. Were the early settlers truly well-versed in ancient Egyptian history, or does this naming convention reflect more of a general trend of romanticizing exotic and distant cultures? The argument thus unveils an intriguing contradiction. The cities bear names linked to ancient Egypt, yet the circumstances of their naming raise doubts about the colonizers' awareness and intent in doing so. It invites us to consider alternative motivations and perspectives behind the naming of these cities, offering a nuanced view of history. In conclusion, as we navigate the intricate tapestry of history, Proverbs 10:9 reminds us that he who walks with integrity walks securely, but he who perverts his ways will become known. Our exploration of the ancient connections between St. Louis, Egypt, and the mysterious Mound City prompts us to reflect on Proverbs 22:28, which warns, "Do not remove the ancient landmark which your fathers have set." The deliberate destruction of the Mound City's ancient mounds echoes the caution against tampering with the established markers of our past. As we unravel these mysteries, let us keep in mind the wisdom of Proverbs 11:14, encouraging us to seek counsel, for in the multitude of counselors there is safety. The naming of cities after Egyptian counterparts raises questions about the motivations behind these actions. Proverbs 23 verses 10 to 11 further cautions us, "Remove not the old landmark, and enter not into the fields of the fatherless, for their Redeemer is mighty, he shall plead their cause with thee." Join us in the exploration of hidden histories and biblical mysteries. This is Hidden History and Biblical Mysteries signing off.